Use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey everyone, welcome to Prepare to Go There, the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation that we could be a part of today. That's just my opinion, but I'm convinced that our future deserves our focus today. Thank you so much for investing this time in leading yourself, right? Putting in the necessary unnoticed preparation so that way when you show up into the future, you show up ready. If you're new to this channel, my name is Peter, and it has been a joy to go on this extended coaching journey with so many friends and leaders. You are crushing it in so many unique and needed places. You're in media, you're in business, you're focused on, family and community. You got mission in mind. You're just amazing. You inspire me. Today is Future Friday, which means literally anything can go. And I love taking a day off, obviously, but I use it as a behind the scenes kind of off stage work day for me personally, just for my own stuff. And so Future Friday looks a little different every week, but it is dedicated on the calendar. I aim for at least a few hours just to get away so I can get ahead. And today was very uneventful and so needed. I'm going to give you just a little preview of what a cherished, rare, valuable Future Friday looks like for me this weekend. For me, it looked like spending a little extra time in my morning routine. And then I had a great conversation on the phone. And then I was decluttering my digital workspaces while I was listening to a live stream conference. And then I went walking, and now I am here. So there was some stuff that kind of went on in between, but I mean, that really is as easy or as intense, I guess, as a Future Friday has to feel. Sometimes we think, oh, we're going to the future. It might just be what you need to be ready for the future. And so that's what it required for me. I've been doing a lot of head down thinking, writing, working, been creating content with you in mind. I've kind of put myself out there now, and there's no turning back. I am working on a book project. I'm super excited about getting that out to y'all. It's called Field Guide to Your Future. And I'll be sharing more about that as we get closer to the 100th live stream. But we only have a little bit of time for now. I wanted to share a little bit of the why and then get into a great conversation that I was able to have with a friend who is a leader, John Hettinger, and he is the production director at a great church community in the Houston area. And if you remember a while back, we had a conversation with one of my great friends, Chris Needham. And so they're kind of all in cahoots over there. But I'm just grateful for friends that share their friends, because I am better because of it. And I hope that I can be a encourager, connector, bridge builder, networker for others as well. So I found out that my live streaming tool has a new little feature. So I'm gonna play with that for today. But welcome back to the Future Frontier. It's my observation and my growing conviction that most people don't know how to lead others into a better future because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. So self-leadership is the big idea for Prepare to Go There. And if you want to prepare to go there, you have to figure out how to do two things. You have to figure out how to lead yourself and how to stay focused on the future. Sometimes we can quit. Other times we just forget. And today really is all about keeping your future on the front burner. So if this resonates with you, I want you to join our amazing email community, friends, leaders who want to lead themselves and level up. And I send out an email once a week on Fridays, and it's got all of the content bundled up. I also share incentives and updates. So if you are interested in the next future focused leader mastermind, the next leadership mastermind that we're going to be pulling together for, again, sometime around the 100th live stream, then get on the email community. That's where you'll get your details to get involved. We've been talking about the importance of personal rhythms and how they can force multiply with our working systems. And so I won't get into any more. It's time for the main event. I want to make plenty of space. This video is a conversation that I had with John Hettinger. The reason we pre-recorded it is because he is in a really awesome but stacked season right now. So I just wanted to prefer his scheduling. And then he was so gracious. He was really cool and was like, yeah, let's shoehorn this in. So I think it was a win-win. I know you'll enjoy it. I'll be back to kind of talk about it at the end. But let's blow up the chat and let's talk and share what we are enjoying while this is going on. Y'all enjoy this conversation with John Hettinger. John, thank you so much for spending some time talking about self-leadership and all things systems and rhythms. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here with you.
This is a big conversation for me. There are other friends and leaders that want to lead themselves. They want to stay focused on the future. And whenever I kind of survey the landscape of my life, you are one of those few guys that really challenge the way I think. You're always encouraging me with your example to think deeply, think differently. And so I just wanted to kind of pull you into this community. And I am so grateful because you are right in the middle of a big kind of conference season in your world. But just to kind of kick it off, would you introduce yourself to my community here with Prepare to Go There, and let us know what you're focused on in your future frontier? What are the things you're excited about, the things you're working on personally, professionally, whatever?
Yeah. Really good to be here, of course. Right now, we are, of course, we're in the middle of conference mode. We have 2 conferences in the next 2 weeks. I'm the production director at Dwelling Place Church. So just managing all of those systems for all kinds of tech and worship, which is a lot in like 3 different venues over several weeks. So it's really fun. But we are also simultaneously working on launching a music publishing label this week as well, and launching some original music for the first time, and really wanting to be a place where we can steward the music, not just of the church here, but of churches around the world, and just help them release their sound is the ultimate goal. And so we're just launching a lot of new stuff, and that's kind of where my focus is. I'm just always doing something new. I never am doing the same thing from month to month. And so it's really fun, exciting, and it requires, I think, like a really good understanding of yourself and systems and leadership and all of that. So this is a really fun topic for me.
Absolutely. And I mean, you already said so much in just a soundbite there, but just to kind of fill in some context here, you're an amazing friend, leader, husband, dad. You're a pioneer thinker. So this is definitely, your space. And I'm just so grateful that we can kind of make a little bit of a pocket. You were kind of joking. You said you put a little recording sign on the door just to see how long that would last. This is
I guess about 2 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just kind of get into the first big idea, which is just self-leadership in general. You've been a part of a mastermind that I got to host, I think, for my birthday. And then, and you've been kind of keeping track with the content here. How important is self-leadership to you? Why do you think it's so important that we harp on it, so often? Just kind of give us your take on leading yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a high productivity person. I love productivity. I love studying it. I love leadership and just improving efficiency. And so and you've actually taught me a lot, Peter, with some of your stuff that you've done in the past with journaling and daily check-ins. And but for me personally, I think some of the biggest values of self-leadership that I've learned is that unless I truly understand myself and how I work, how I do things, then I can get in a really unhealthy mode trying to accomplish certain goals. And so I'll go in like deep on one goal, whether it's understanding audio systems or video systems. I dive in deep to the negligence of my family or my spiritual life or my emotional life, right? And all of those are connected, right? If you're physically unhealthy, spiritually unhealthy, emotionally unhealthy, whatever it is, like they're all connected and they're all going to drain or feed each other. And so for me personally, self-leadership is understanding myself so that then I can stay healthy. And the healthier you are, it's the sharpening the axe paradigm, right? So it's easier to learn, you can grow. As a really good example, I became the Spanish pastor at our church about 5, 6 years ago, and I didn't speak Spanish. And my wife was my translator, and I tried to learn Spanish for a year, and it was completely worthless. Like I never learned anything. Like I would study, I knew how to say like orange, apple, and I would go talk to somebody and say like "Cómo estás?" And then like as soon as they started talking, I was done. Like I couldn't, I couldn't respond. It was really bad. I'm the Spanish pastor. I'm supposed to be pastoring these people. And so after a year of not learning anything, I was like, okay, I need to take a step back. Like we need to examine this, we need to analyze. And I spent 3 months just studying how to learn and how to learn a language. How do you learn? And then I started over after that. And then within a year, I was able to be conversational with people. I started preaching in Spanish some. I would still use translators at times, but it was just this massive improvement because of, rather than just, like you said, beating my head against the wall, it's this self-leadership of, what do we need to do? And then spiritually praying through that. Obviously I work for church, so I love that. And one of the things that you and Pastor Randy have taught me is how to take all of our to-dos and, there's so much we need to do, right? I have probably 15 more to-dos on my to-do list for today, but to take it before the Lord, pray over it, and then let him lead me, let him give me wisdom. And so that then we're doing the Psalm 127, which I'm sorry, this is a lot. It's a huge answer, but
no,
to me, if you ask me what self-leadership is, I would define it as Psalms 127. It's building your life with the Lord, right? Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. So self-leadership is, Lord, what are you doing right now? And then practically aligning what you are doing to be what he is doing. So that you're laboring what he's laboring on, you're watching what he's watching on, right? And then what we build with the Lord then becomes our inheritance, as you see at the end of that chapter.
Oh man, it's so good. I was just reading through First Corinthians, just kind of listening to it on the Dwell Bible app, and talking about you're going to make sure you're building the right way. It's going to get inspected. It's going to be fire tested, and make sure that what you're building is, built to last. And I love how you said every part of your life is connected. It's either feeding or it's draining the other areas, and I talk a lot about multifaceted focus, the ability to keep that aerial view and, to make decisions or even make incisions on your plans based on how it affects the others, and going for that integrated view, which is a concept that Peter Drucker talked a lot about in his writings, and a lot of other people. Integrity is actually just living an integrated lifestyle. And the irony is I'm just kind of bouncing, just kind of riffing off all the amazing things you said. But the irony is self-leadership is not selfish. It's actually more aligned with self-control, which is a good thing, something we actually need to be growing in. And I believe the Lord actually expects us to lead ourselves. I mean, that's why he tells a story about owner who has talents or money. He gives them off to his team. He says, okay, make this grow, go put this to work, go invest this. That doesn't sound like micromanaging to me. That sounds like a lot of empowerment, a lot of trust, and a lot of responsibility. And so, oh my goodness, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think there's a lot of people that just kind of live in this weird kind of distorted view of servant leadership that is still very handicapped in their own sense of confidence and competence. And they're not really, leveraging their unique strengths, gifts, aptitudes to really serve others by leading well. And instead they're just kind of taking the easy route out. They're just saying, well, nobody told me to do that. I'll just kind of play it safe, and hedge your bets. Right. So self-leadership is a big step. And so I kind of want to lean into your experience and really even your expertise when it comes to rhythms and systems, because this is easier said than done. There's a lot of my friends, a lot of leaders that I interact with. Whenever you kind of push on them and say, how are you really doing? What's really going on? Let's kind of talk practically about, working on your schedule or working on your systems, your teams, your calendar. Man, this comes up all the time. And I get it because, we're facing this as well. So can you just kind of kickstart with some terms? How would you describe or define, routines versus rhythms and then systems? Are there certain routines that you rely on, to lead yourself well? Are there rhythms that have really helped you either personally or with your family, your team? And then just kind of like go to town on systems, because I can't wait to learn just kind of how you think about building systems that make teams successful.
Yeah. Well, it's great because you've actually taught me a lot about systems. So I've learned a lot from you. But so for me personally, I think a lot of how you define routines and rhythms, or I guess maybe not how you define it, but maybe how you use them, is based more off of your personality and who you are. So for example, I have a gift in that I'm able to really dig into stuff more than most people. To where I can just like go after one topic, deep dive, for weeks and weeks until I get to the point where I think I've mastered it. I completely understand it. But to the exclusion of literally everything else that I should not be ignoring. But that's how I learn. That's how I grow. So I use routines specifically to keep me healthy, right? So to do what I would call balanced, right? And so, yes, we should be extreme for certain things, but, to keep family healthy, to have enough energy, to have enough, I believe you've talked about, energy, protecting your energy and preserving that. And so I use routines specifically to make sure that I'm healthy. When I come to work, when I'm meeting with people, that I'm in the right frame of mind, that I'm ready, that I'm really hearing them, and I'm not just like stressed out, because I'll get very task list oriented. So I keep my to-do list, but my to-do list is, for me personally, needs to be like, go sit with somebody. Like, who do I need to counsel today? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to spend time with? And my employees, like, who do I need to spend time with? Who do, in the morning before I start, that's part of my routine, is to make sure that I'm personally, as a Christian and a pastor, to make sure that I'm prayed up, that I'm in this Holy Spirit, that I'm overflowing. My boss has learned me well enough that, he'll be like, hey, are you oily today? and if not, he'll be like, go to your truck, get oily, which, just means just spend time in prayer, loving on the Lord and resting in his presence until I'm at the place where I need to be effective and productive in a high, maybe not a high stress, but a high intensity environment where we're doing a lot of things nonstop. I think in 1 year we did 54 to 56 events, not excluding our weekly services. So it's just very high level productivity. And so to me, so the definitions of those would be that daily routine, which I use to preserve my own health and my family health, and to make sure that I'm spending time with my kids, and even stuff like hugging my kids for 30 seconds before they go to school, right? And just slowing down and just really just giving them that time and that affection and seeing how it affects their mood. And so I use my routine for that. And then as far as rhythms, I believe that I use rhythms to master. So, and this is kind of my job, right? So I master a new area for the church, or something that the church needs to grow in, to master it, and I'll deep dive using routines to stay healthy in the midst of these rhythms where I shift to something new that I've maybe never worked on before, to make sure that my employees are still getting enough attention and healthy in other areas that I'm maybe not able to focus on as much. And then systems, then I would say, is when I'm moving on, how do I leave this area in a way that now that I'm moving on to something new, that it stays, really healthy and really excellent? Because it's very easy to put all your focus on something, upgrade it. It jumps up, skyrockets 10 levels. Then you move on, and then it drops 6. And that's not the goal of what we want to do as leaders, right? We want to constantly be training, mentoring, learning, imparting. My mentor as a kid, Andy Ramos, he told me, he said, I'm going to teach you everything I know, but you're never going to learn more than me, because you'll never know more than me, because I'll never stop learning.
That's
And I
so
think,
good.
that's what our mentality as leaders needs to be, right? Like, to be a leader, you got to be moving forward. And so we're always moving forward, and then using systems, not for just to-do lists. I feel like that's like the lowest level of leadership is to-do lists and micromanagement. It has to be empowerment of specific gifts, and knowing your team to know that you have all the different gifts, and allowing them to work together, and then really getting them excited and empowered to grow beyond you, so that as you move on to a new area, it actually goes higher than where you got it, instead of backwards.
Man, so good. I love how you're kind of giving us the lay of the land with that, and really giving us that big picture so we could see how they all fit together. I mean, routines help you automate awesome, so that way you can stay healthy. And then rhythms is that prompt to come back to different areas of your life, to come back to key relationships in your life, to come back to best practices in your life, so that way you don't drift from the success or the joy that you've been experiencing. And then systems is the actual hands-on work of the project you're working on, the archives that kind of come out of it, the artifacts you're leaving for the future. And so, we're building systems all the time, whether we realize it or not. Your example is going to become someone else's system.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is they'll look at, what we did or started or tried, and they'll be like, okay, what was the exact way you did that again? And you're like, you have no idea. I was just kind of figuring it out as I go. It's less about the perfect way to do it. It's more about the persistence to keep doing it. And so you're building that culture, and you're establishing systems. What I found is that we can kind of get this fanfare and kind of trigger happy with, oh, we need a system. That's the answer. But then that becomes the shiny object syndrome, where if you don't like the results, or if you don't like the pace, or if you think, you're getting discouraged, well, we just need a better system,
And then that system smashes another system a lot of times.
And they're related. So it's, how have you, are there some safeguards that you have identified to make sure that your systems don't become, the the machine that just keeps, burning you out, burning other people out.
Yeah. Well, and so for me personally, I think, I mean, as much as I want to sound perfect at systems, to me, the biggest safeguard is, the fact that if the system fails, then I'm ready to accept that, okay, this system just failed and we need to evaluate, not just re-implement it like in a stronger way, but to really evaluate, okay, what's going on here? Like, are the people overworked? Are we wearing too many hats simultaneously? What are the foundational issues causing this to not work well? But with the systems that we develop, I think it has to come from a place where it's not just a checklist, but you're really mentoring people and you're okay with, these small failures, right? Like, we celebrate failure, we celebrate messing up because it's a person who has a gift or an anointing in that area. And the focus of a system has to be to the people, right? Not just the checklist. It's got to be the people and training the people and developing the people in an area that they are called to. And I think a lot of times systems fail because people are in the wrong place. And so for me, the safeguard, I guess, and I don't know, I would actually love to hear what your safeguards are. But for me personally, it's just, I'm never afraid to stop evolving. Like, if the system's not working, like, I'm almost too trigger happy with, like, okay, let's do this radical shift and launch it, right? And just moving, as long as the people are right.
Yeah.
It's like the John Maxwell thing of, for the organization to grow, your leaders have to grow, right?
Yes.
And so that's all. If your system is developing leaders and growing the people, then the structure of the system may shift, but the people making up the system will succeed eventually, as they keep developing, as they keep growing. And they'll help you figure out the best way, right? Like the Starbucks book, let the janitor choose the broom, or let the janitor choose the mop. As you develop these people and they begin to understand their work environment better, then they come to you with ideas and excitement, if you're really being a good leader and mentoring well.
That's so good, man. I just feel like there's so much synergy already, and I would encourage you, whenever conference wave is over, maybe after Christmas, go check out the Wednesday episode, because I was talking about, systems are people powered. They prioritize people, and I think one of the ditches we fall in is we think systems are mostly about tracking. We're tracking the checklist, we're tracking the due dates, we're tracking the outcomes. But I encourage, everyone in the community here to kind of reimagine systems, not as mostly tracking, but mostly training.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's a training based approach. And systems, there is an education involved in the system. There is an empowerment involved in the system. And the more it's just it's being proactive, not reactive.
Right.
If I'm being proactive, I want to train people in the system, with the system, for the system. But if I'm being reactive, then I don't trust that they know they know it well enough. I don't trust that they remembered it. I don't trust that they're well versed, in it. And so I'm tracking their movements, their minutes. I'm tracking the checklist, the outcomes of it. And my goal, almost to a default, I can err on this, is I'm way more on the development, the growth, the learning side, where if I only have 30, 40 minutes with this whole group of people a week in a team meetup, I'm going to do like training and team building, and I want to like invest in them and ask questions of them and get buy-in. And if we have to go slower, we just have to go slower. And those tasks always find a way of getting attention anyways. So let's kind of
Let
Go
me
ahead.
say, can I say one more thing
Yeah,
real
please,
fast, and
please,
then we can
please
close
do.
it? Yeah, just as a testament to that, I've never thought of this as a system, but I think it is one of the things that has made my teams really successful is that we always have a priority of that every day I tell them I want you to like spend time 30 minutes to an hour just learning, like investing in yourself. And also I give them like a 10%, like some other time I say, I always want you to have a passion project that I'm not asking you to do. And I think both of those, while I haven't maybe thought of that as a system, is exactly what you're saying of, investing in people first. So, and I think that's really contributed to the success of those teams. So
Well,
that's
it
it.
definitely speaks volumes, man. Your work is really just increasing exponentially. Every time I hang out with you, talk to the guys, I'm hearing, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, and y'all are not, your whole team culture. You're not afraid to throttle forward. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not afraid of speed. You're not afraid of being agile. You're not afraid of like more volume, more opportunities. You have a way of, you know, making it all work. And I know the heart behind it. Y'all are just so willing to just roll up your sleeves, make it happen, flow. I mean, there's very little ego that I have felt or sniffed out, in your team, which is a huge compliment to
Yeah.
just the whole operating system there. But I do
Thank you,
want
man.
to kind of finish, if we had got maybe time for one more question, just to kind of hit on rhythms.
Okay.
Um, right now you're in a swell. You're about to surf a really big wave. You've got some big gatherings, some big conferences that are going to be happening. um how how do you kind of make sense of rhythms, um and how do the systems help with your rhythms or vice versa?
So it's a really good question. I would say, we have two conferences over, 2.5 weeks. Not much time for sleeping, not much time. It makes it very hard to stay healthy, to stay, viable. You push really hard through these seasons. And so I would say one, your systems, I think leading up to this, maybe not during this, I think your systems leading up to this are what make this doable because of the people, right? It's all about the people. And so having people that you can really rely on, that I know, like if I got sick today and I was gone for 2 weeks, I trust my team could do it without me. And
That's
that's
it.
it's invaluable. And then as far as rhythms though, it's to me, it's my family has kind of learned to operate through this and learning to make, and I think it's routines feeding into rhythms, feeding into systems. It's,
Hmm.
keeping your family engaged and making that time, right? Where, extra time with family before leads into this rhythm of where I'm able to really push myself for a period of time. Knowing that I gave extra time to my family before and after, and I'm not really losing anything out of my family support. And I think that rhythm just really makes it to where as my weekly schedule looks drastically different, I'm able to really thrive and push hard, um, and staying oily, as I said earlier, right?
Hmm.
And celebrating. And then the other one too, I think, which is probably a massive key to a healthy rhythm and a healthy system is you just have to refuse to stress. It's so easy in these kind of environments to get stressed, but stress, it's proven it breaks down your DNA. It doesn't help you focus. It prevents your ability to work smart and efficiently and to work well. And so instead, just staying relaxed and even taking a break. One of our core values here is that no matter how busy we are, we will always stop to either help a coworker or to help a new person, right? No matter, if we're going live in 60 seconds and so a new person comes up to me, then, that's one of our core values is they are my focus at that point. But that kind of healthy focus actually gives a freedom that overall makes everything better,
Yeah.
I believe. And so
Yeah.
I think those rhythms of core values and routines and systems all lead up. Like it has to be in place before you get into the middle of this. Because if you're trying to fix it in the middle of high pressure
Mhm.
times, it's not going to work. You just need to finish it and then probably take a week and go, reevaluate everything leading up to that. But it's the months leading up to these seasons, working together with healthy systems, healthy rhythms, healthy routines, empowering leaders that really make it able to uh, allow you to thrive during these seasons.
Well, you guys are doing it, man. I really appreciate this conversation. The very fact that you would stop in the middle of this um, big push of a week and just to have a conversation with some new friends and some other leaders, it goes a long way. Is there anywhere people can go to get in contact with you, or just to kind of see
Yeah,
uh, the awesome things you think about and work on too?
yeah. Well, I would just say it's probably easiest way is just to email me. So just John at dwellingplacechurch.com. Or check us out on YouTube and check out the live stream and the production. And I'm really proud of how the team has been upgrading it with all of our volunteers, and because we're completely volunteer based, but it's still I love seeing them grow and as leaders and audio, video, and production, and it's just really cool. So if you have any questions, I'm always here. I love helping, consulting, whatever you need.
Man, he really means it. I've asked him for some questions and some help, and he's gotten me out of quite a few jams. So it's been great. Thank you, John. We
Yep.
appreciate it. Have an awesome conference run,
Thank
and
you.
look forward to having more conversations sometime afterwards.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Peter.
So good, right? Wow. Hey, let me know in the chat what stood out to you, a big idea or an action. I've been thinking of this too. A lot of times we hear, "Oh, what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway?" And we're always looking for action steps. When I communicate, I think about, okay, what call to action am I giving people? But I'm also realizing just the importance of uh, framing things up to help people make distinctions and then make decisions. So maybe there's not like a really big action step you need to take, but there is a clear decision that you want to make. Hey, I am going to be intentional about my rhythms. I am going to automate awesome with routines so that way I can stay in a healthy mode and I can be more available to the people that I lead. And I'm going to be thinking about these systems. I'm going to double down on these systems so that way I can help other people on my teams level up. I really appreciate you being a part of this conversation today. I want you to share it with others and let them know that the Future Friends community is open. I'd love to just have more conversations with great people that are mission minded and are committed to put in the work. Um, I want to say thank you just for being along. And I have a free PDF for you. It is the fail proof planning guide. It's going to help you get started so you can get better. And it's not going to tell you, you know, what to do. It's just going to prompt you with some questions so that way you can identify your roles and goals. You can see them fleshed out in routines and rhythms. And then it's going to give you an action plan to have a very effective weekly planning session. So I want you to enjoy that. And getting that download will also put you into the email community. So, y'all, that is it for today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because Sir Joy and I have plans for the weekend. But I really appreciate y'all. I want you to stay encouraged. I want you to take advantage of quarter four. Quarter four is just one of my favorite times of the year. And we have a few holidays coming up. That's just a great opportunity for family and friends, some good food, but it it's designed to give us the necessary downtime so that way we're examining and we're leaning forward. And I want to help you launch into a great 2022. So more stuff we'll talk about next week. We are kicking off a brand new topic, and it's going to be about delegation. I really believe in delegation. I think delegation is proof of concept. Delegation is not something that you hate doing, but delegation is something that you have personally traveled through, something you have personally worked through, and now you're able to share that load or broaden your territory with a team. And so I'm going to try to help you get started. If you're just getting started with delegation, if you've never delegated to anybody, this one's going to help you. Or if you're frustrated and you're saying, man, I wish I could delegate, I just don't have anyone to delegate to, you might have the wrong mindset about that. And so we're going to be kind of exploring that from a few places. And then after that, we're just pretty much just going right into the 100th episode of Prepare to Go There. So it's going to be a time of celebration all around. And I'll have some more updates for you then. Stay awesome. Remember, you're going places, and that's why you have to prepare to go there. See you later.